This billionaire pretends to be blind to test his family, but what his wife did will make you cry. Have you ever felt like the people around you only smile because of what you can give them, not because they love you? What if one day you decided to remove everything they love, just to see if they'll still stay? This story will break your heart and open your eyes. It's about a billionaire who pretended to be blind to test his wife, his children, and his entire household. But what his wife did behind his back will make you cry. The gentle sound of jazz music floated through the air-conditioned halls of Chief Adedayo's mansion in Lakey Phase 1, but inside the master bedroom there was no peace. Chief Adedayo sat quietly by the window in a white robe, sipping tea, his dark glasses resting heavily on his face. His face was calm, but his mind was in chaos. He had it all: money, fame, companies across 3 continents. But he couldn't shake the emptiness in his chest. Not because of sickness, not because of old age, but because of doubt. Just last week, the doctor had completed his full eye exam and said, "Chief, your vision is perfect. There's nothing wrong with your eyes." But Chief Adedayo only nodded and said, "Thank you, doctor. But don't tell anyone, not even my family. From now on, I am blind." He walked back into his mansion and called his assistant. "Michael," he said quietly, "I want to carry out a test. I'm going to pretend to be blind. I want to know who truly loves me and who's just using me." Michael's voice shook. "Sir, if you do this, you might lose everything." Chief Adedayo looked away from the window, his voice steady. "Then so be it." That evening, he called his wife Maureen, his daughter Zara, and his son Jide into the living room. The chandelier above sparkled like diamonds. Maureen walked in first, her silk gown sweeping the floor, her perfume leaving a strong trail behind her. Zara followed, her long nails clacking against her phone screen, pausing only to glance at her TikTok views. Jide, the youngest, walked in quietly, holding a book under his arm. "Daddy, what's going on?" Zara asked impatiently, barely looking up from her phone. Chief Adedayo removed his glasses slowly. I can no longer see," he said calmly. "The doctors say I've lost my sight. Completely." Maureen gasped, rushing to his side. "Oh my God, what? How?" Zara paused her phone. "Wait, what do you mean? Like blind? "Yes," he said. "From now on, I'll need help. I can't see anything." Maureen held his hand. "Don't worry, darling. We're here for you." Zara faked a sob. "This is so unfair. You don't deserve this, Dad." But the moment Chief Adedayo turned his face away, their hands dropped. Their eyes met. Cold. Calculating. Unspoken plans were already forming. Jide stepped forward, quietly holding his father's arm. "I'll help you, Dad," he whispered. "We'll get through this." Chief Adedayo gave a small nod, but deep down, he already knew. This was only the beginning. The next morning, the entire mansion felt different. The once lively home was now eerily quiet. Chief Adedayo sat in his armchair in the living room, holding a walking stick, pretending to be confused as he turned his face toward the sound of footsteps. "Who is that?" he asked, his voice soft but firm. "It's me," Maureen answered, walking past him with her heels clacking sharply against the marble floor. "I'm going out. I'll be back." "To where?" he asked. Marie hesitated. "Just a spa. You know, to clear my head. I need to stay strong for you." Adedayo nodded slowly. "All right. Please be careful." Marie turned away, rolling her eyes. Blind and still suspicious, she walked into the garage, where her real destination waited. Jasper, a young man dressed in white jeans with a trimmed beard and a cocky grin leaning against a car. "You kept me waiting," Jasper said, wrapping his arm around her waist. Maureen kissed his cheek. "That old fool finally believes I'm his eyes. I told you it would work." They got into the car and drove off. while Chief Adedayo, still sitting calmly inside, pressed a small button hidden in his cane. Location tracker activated. Audio recording started. Back inside, Zara was in her room with two friends, laughing loudly while scrolling on her tablet. "Look," she said, "I've already listed Daddy's Bentley for sale on this app." One friend gasped. "Won't he find out?" Zara laughed. "He's blind, babe, blind. He doesn't even know what time of day it is. Besides, once he's gone for real, all this becomes mine." They clinked mocktail glasses together and burst into laughter. Downstairs, Jaidi walked into the kitchen and found his father blindly reaching for a cup. "Let me help, Dad," he said gently, holding his father's hand. Chief Adedayo nodded. "Thank you, son. You're the only one who hasn't changed." Jaidi frowned. "What do you mean?" Bide hesitated. "Nothing, just an old man thinking too much." But deep inside, his heart was breaking. That night, Maureen came back late. Her perfume was different, her lipstick smeared slightly. "Welcome," Adedayo said from the sofa. "Did you have a good time at the spa?" Maureen blinked. Yes, it was relaxing. I heard you laughing with someone when you came out of the car." "Oh, that was the driver," she said quickly. Adedayo smiled to himself. "Okay." He could already see the betrayal growing like cancer, but he needed more proof. Later that night, Maureen whispered on the phone in the hallway. "Don't worry, Jasper. He believes everything. We'll move things faster. He won't last long." Unbeknownst to her, Michael, the assistant, sat in a van across the street, recording every word through a hidden microphone in the flower pot. Upstairs, Jaide quietly covered his father with a blanket. "Good night, Dad." Adedayo touched his hand. "Son, no matter what happens in this house, don't change. Please." "I won't," Jaide whispered. But downstairs, Maureen smiled in the mirror, applying red lipstick. "Let the blind man sleep," she muttered. "Soon it will all be mine." What she didn't know, the mansion was quiet but not peaceful. Chief Adedayo lay on his bed, pretending to be asleep. His eyes remained shut, his cane beside him, his breathing steady. But every part of him was listening, waiting. Just past midnight, the bedroom door creaked open. Soft footsteps padded across the marble floor. A perfume cloud lingered in the air, not the one Maureen wore during the day. She didn't say a word. She opened the wardrobe, pulled out a shiny gown, gold heels, and a small black purse. Then she tiptoed out of the room. Downstairs, Jaidi sat reading on the couch. He heard the main door open. "Mom?" he asked quietly. Maureen froze, then laughed lightly. "I'm just going out to clear my head. The whole blindness thing is stressing me too much." Jaide looked worried. "At this hour?" "I'm not a child, Jaide," she snapped. "Go to bed." She slammed the door behind her. Maureen's car drove fast down the empty Lekki road. Her heart beat with excitement, not fear. She arrived at the Platinum Hotel, walked straight through the side entrance, and took the lift to room 27. Inside, Jasper was already waiting, shirtless, holding 2 wine glasses. "My queen," he grinned. She dropped her purse, removed her scarf, and wrapped her arms around him. "I needed this." He kissed her neck. "Soon, all this will be yours. The mansion, the cars, the company, all of it. That old man can't even see his own shadow anymore." They laughed. Maureen ran her fingers along his chest. "I've already started cleaning things. The lawyer says once he signs over control, everything goes to me. The blind old fool." In the corner of the room, a hidden pinhole camera blinked silently. Back at the mansion, Chief Adedayo sat on his bed, watching the live feed from a hidden monitor inside his wardrobe. The footage was clear. Maureen and Jasper kissing, mocking, planning. A tear slipped from his eye. Downstairs, Zara was having a sleepover in the guest room with a few friends. Loud music echoed through the halls. She danced on her phone, streaming live on her burner TikTok account. "Guys," she shouted into the camera, "do you want me to prank my blind dad? Watch this." She crept upstairs, camera in hand, and quietly removed the rug from the hallway floor. "Let's see if he falls." She giggled to her viewers. "He won't even know what hit him." But Jaidi, silently watching from the corner, quickly stepped in and adjusted the rug before his father came out. He said nothing, just shook his head. Later, Zara stormed into the kitchen. "Jaid, why do you always ruin my fun?" He looked up slowly. "Because what you're doing is evil," she scoffed. "Says the servant boy pretending to be the family hero." At dawn, Maureen returned. Her lipstick was gone, her heels dangled from her hand. Chief Adedayo was already seated in the living room, eyes closed, hands folded on his lap. "You're awake?" she asked nervously. "I never sleep well," he replied, keeping his tone calm. "I always feel like there's a snake crawling around me." She blinked. "What does that mean?" Adedayo gave a small smile. "Nothing, yet." The morning sun broke through the glass windows of the mansion, but there was no warmth inside. Chief Adedayo sat in the living room, wearing dark glasses, holding his cane across his lap. His face was calm, but his mind was boiling. Last night's betrayal still played in his head. Maureen's kiss with Jasper. Her mocking laughter, her whisper. That blind old fool will hand over everything soon. Today he would push further. "Where is everyone?" he asked softly. From the hallway, Maureen appeared, wearing a pink silk wrapper, her wig tilted slightly. Her eyes avoided his. "I invited someone to help you," she said with a sugary smile. "A professional nurse. You need constant care now." Just then the front door opened. In walked Jasper, dressed in white scrubs, holding a fake medical bag and flashing a toothy grin. "Good morning, sir," he said loudly, too loudly. "I'm Nurse J. I'll be helping you from now on." Adeo turned his head slowly. "Thank you, but I didn't approve this." Maureen interrupted, touching his shoulder. "You don't need to worry. I'm making the decisions now." Jasper winked at her behind Adedayo's back. Then he turned to the billionaire and patted his shoulder. Hard. "So this is the famous Chief, Ian?" he said mockingly. "Big man, now blind man. Life is funny, Shah." Maureen chuckled. Adedayo clenched his jaw under the glasses, but said nothing. Upstairs, Zara was filming another skit for her online fans. "Watch this," she whispered into the camera. "I'm going to feed my blind father a spoon of sugar and tell him it's salt." She crept downstairs with a bowl, only to find Jaide sitting beside their father, already feeding him breakfast. Zara hissed, "You're always blocking content." Jaide turned slowly. "Because this is not content. It's wickedness." She rolled her eyes and stormed off. That afternoon, Jasper lounged on the couch, legs up, watching TV loudly, while Chief Adedayo sat in the corner. "Madame," Jasper shouted to Maureen, "please bring me that cold malt now, my throat is dry." "Yes, baby," Maureen called from the kitchen, giggling like a teenager. Adedayo tilted his head. "Is this how you treat your employer in my house?" Jasper laughed. "Sir, you can't even see me. Why are you complaining? You should be thanking God I'm even here." Maureen appeared with the malt and placed it in Jasper's hand, brushing his fingers. Then she handed Adedayo a warm bottle of water. "There. Be grateful," she said without emotion. Adedayo took the bottle with trembling hands. Humiliation, disrespect, mockery, and it was only beginning. Later that night, Maureen and Jasper cuddled on the living room couch as a Nollywood movie played. Adedayo sat silently in the corner. "You see, babe," Jasper said, "this is our life now. Soon we kick out everyone else and rule." Jirai walked in and saw them. He stopped, his fists clenched. "Mom," he said firmly, "is this really what you've become?" Maureen stood up. Who gave you the right to speak to me like that? Are you the man of this house now? No, Jide replied, but the man of this house deserves better than this. She raised her hand. Talk again, and I'll slap you. Adedayo's voice rang out quietly from the corner. You will not touch him. Maureen froze. Jasper stood, mocking. Blind man wants to act tough. Adedayo smiled faintly. Even in darkness, some men still see more than others. Jide stepped forward. Dad, do you want to go to bed? Yes, son, he said softly. Take me away from this madness. As they walked up the stairs, Adedayo whispered to him. I've seen enough. Soon they'll all see too. The rain began to drizzle softly over the compound, its rhythm tapping against the glass windows like whispers of truth begging to be heard. Inside the mansion, Chief Adedayo sat alone in the guest room, where he had now been moved for convenience, according to Maureen. It was the smallest room in the house, with just one single bed and no view of the outside. Blind men don't need a view, she had said coldly. His former bedroom? Jasper now slept there? The humiliation was complete. But today something had changed. Earlier that morning, Jide had entered his father's old study to search for a missing pen. While rummaging through drawers, he found a locked folder behind a bookshelf. Curiosity took over. He pried it open. Inside were secret documents, company shares, international property titles, offshore account statements. Billions. But at the back of the folder, a torn envelope caught his eye. Inside, he found a birth certificate. And his name was on it. Jide Adedayo. He paused, confused. Then he saw a letter written in his father's handwriting. My son, one day you will find this. You are my real heir. The world may forget you, but I will never. Love, Dad. His hands trembled. Meanwhile, in the living room, Maureen and Zara sat on the couch, in silk robes, drinking wine at noon. Jide is becoming a problem, Zara said, scrolling on her iPad. He's always lurking around Daddy. We need to get rid of him. Maureen nodded slowly. I've been thinking the same. Jasper says we should send him away, maybe an all-boys boarding school in the north, somewhere deep. Like Kaduna? Zara giggled. No Wi-Fi, no network. He'll go mad. They both laughed. Maureen added, once we get Daddy to sign the documents, I'll remove Jide from everything. He's not even our blood. They didn't know Jide had returned, and was standing behind the curtain listening to every word. He walked away silently. Later that night, Jide entered his father's small room and sat beside him on the bed. Dad, he whispered, am I really your son? Chief Adedayo slowly turned toward him. His voice cracked. You found the papers. Jide nodded, his voice trembling. Why didn't you tell me? I wanted to protect you from their hatred, Adedayo said. They always saw you as less. But you were the only one who stayed. You were the only one who saw me, even when I pretended not to see. Tears welled in Jide's eyes. They're planning to send me away, he whispered, to break us. Adedayo smiled faintly. Let them try. I have one more test for them. He pulled out a small brown envelope from beneath his pillow. Inside this is everything they want. They'll come for it, but they won't know it's already been changed. Jide opened the envelope. Inside was a new will. Everything was now signed over to him. But Dad, he said, this will cause war. Adedayo leaned forward, his voice now hard. Then let the war begin. Because I'd rather give everything to a loyal son than leave even one naira to a house full of snakes. Outside, the rain had stopped. But the storm was just beginning. The mansion's marble floors sparkled as always, but Chief Adedayo's heart felt heavier than the gold trimmings on the walls. He sat alone in the garden behind the house, dark glasses still on, pretending to listen to the birds chirp. But he wasn't listening to nature. He was listening to the tiny recording device in his pocket, transmitting a live feed from inside the house. From the kitchen he heard Maureen's voice, low and sultry. "Jasper, no one suspects a thing. He thinks you're just a nurse." Jasper laughed. "Let him think. The man can't even see his own disgrace." There was a sound of a soft kiss. Then Maureen whispered, "When are we traveling?" "Soon," Jasper replied. "As soon as the will is changed and the money hits the new account. I've already opened one in Ghana. After that, we disappear. Just you and me. And Zara," Maureen added quickly. "She can't survive without soft life." Adideu's hands gripped the arms of the chair tightly. His knuckles turned white. But he said nothing. He just listened. Meanwhile, Zara had her own secret. She'd been sneaking out to meet a man named Mr. Desmond, a married boutique owner who promised to sponsor her influencer dreams. That day, she posted a photo wearing a tight silver gown with the caption, "City girls don't suffer, we upgrade." The problem? She'd tagged the wrong account. Mr. Desmond's wife saw it. The woman stormed into the boutique that afternoon, dragged Zara by the weave, and tore her gown right in front of customers. "You think because your daddy is blind you can blindfold my husband too?" The fight went viral within hours. Instagram blogs picked it up, comments poured in. "So this is the billionaire's daughter? Fake soft life, side chick with no shame. Even her papa blind, she no get sense." At home, Jaide saw the video. He showed it to his father silently. Adideo watched the screen, lips trembling. "Is this my daughter?" Jaide nodded. "Yes, Dad." Adideo looked away. "I failed them," he whispered. "I gave them too much and taught them nothing." That night, Maureen returned home late again. She tiptoed through the hallway, giggling into her phone. "I swear, Jasper, that hotel bed was softer than this mansion." She didn't know Jaide was behind the curtain, recording everything on video. The next morning, Chief Adideo called a family meeting. He sat on a chair, cane in hand, head bowed. "Zara," he said softly, "is it true you fought in public over a married man?" Zara rolled her eyes. "Everyone's dragging me already. Must you add your own?" "And you?" He turned to Maureen. "Do you know anything about it?" Maureen folded her arms. "You're the one who raised her." Adideo sighed. "And you're the one who taught her how to fall." The room went still. Maureen stood. "Is this your way of blaming me for everything now?" "No," he said. "It's my way of reminding you that even a blind man can see betrayal when it comes from his own pillow." He stood up slowly and walked away, leaving both women frozen. But what they didn't know was that Judgment Day was near. The clouds outside the mansion darkened like an omen. Inside, Chief Adideo sat at the end of the long mahogany dining table, his glasses still on, his cane resting beside him. Every seat was filled. Maureen, Zara, Jasper, and Jaide sat with tense expressions. A briefcase sat at the center of the table. "I've called you all here for one reason," Adideo began, his voice calm but low. "Since my health has changed, it is time to discuss what happens next." Maureen sat upright instantly. "You mean, like a will?" Zara clapped. "Finally! I've been saying we need structure in this house." Jaide looked down, silent. Adideo nodded. "A lawyer will be arriving shortly to read out my decision." Jasper whispered to Maureen, "This is it, baby, the moment we've been waiting for." Just then, a tall, serious-faced man walked in, wearing a suit and holding a document folder. "Good afternoon. I'm Barrister Sylvanus, here to execute the instructions of Chief Adideo regarding his estate." The room grew still. The lawyer opened the folder and began reading. "According to Chief's written directive, the following distribution is to be made." Maureen leaned forward, breath held. "First, to Mrs. Maureen Adideo, all joint accounts are hereby closed. Any access to funds is revoked." Maureen gasped. "What?" The lawyer continued. To Zara Adideo, all vehicles registered in her name are to be returned. Digital assets, including monetized accounts, are frozen due to recent public misconduct. Zara's eyes widened. You can't do that. And finally, the lawyer paused. To Jide Adedayo, all real estate properties, shares, and controlling power of Adedayo Holdings shall be handed over, effective immediately. The room exploded. Maureen stood. This must be a mistake. He's blind. Someone must have tricked him. Zara grabbed the document and tore it in half. This is fraud. But the lawyer didn't flinch. The real documents are secured elsewhere. This was a formality. Formal my foot, Maureen screamed. You gave everything to a boy who isn't even my blood? Adideo turned his face slowly toward her. Exactly. That's why he deserves it. Jasper stood up, furious. You mean I've been feeding this old man for nothing? Rubbish. Jiri stood calmly and helped his father to his feet. You've shown your true faces, Adedayo said. Now face the consequences. Maureen rushed forward and slapped Jide across the face. You little thief! Without warning, 2 uniformed security officers entered the room. Ma'am, we'll have to escort you out. This property is no longer yours. Zara screamed. Daddy, you can't do this. You love me. Adedayo turned toward her voice. Love? The day you mocked your father's blindness for views was the day you buried that love. Maureen fell to her knees. Adedayo, please. I was just angry. He paused. And I was just blind. Then he removed his dark glasses slowly and opened his eyes. Everyone froze. Maureen staggered back. You can see? Adedayo smiled coldly. I saw everything. In the corner, a hidden camera blinked from the flower vase. The final test had just been passed. The next day, the sun rose over Lekki, but for Maureen and Zara, light had become their enemy. The front gate of the mansion they once ruled was now locked against them. Maureen stood outside in a faded wrapper, no makeup, her wig crooked from the night before. She banged on the gate, shouting, Open this gate! I'm still the madam of this house! From behind the walls, no one answered. Inside, Chief Adedayo sat quietly with Jide, sipping tea in the garden. Let her knock, Adedayo said calmly. Let the neighbors hear the truth. And they did. By noon, a crowd had gathered outside the estate gate. Maureen's loud voice, cursing and weeping, echoed down the street. Phones were raised. Recordings began. Ah, is that not Chief Adedayo's wife? One woman whispered. Yes, another replied. The one that was sleeping with the nurse. Hi, so it's true? My friend sent me the CCTV clip. She was kissing the man in their sitting room. Shameless thing. Maureen turned around, recognizing some of the voices. Mind your business, she screamed. One young boy replied, Madamatim, business day TikTok now. You're trending. Zara, standing beside her in worn-out jeans and slippers, snatched the phone from her pocket. No Wi-Fi, no data. Her hands shook. When she finally connected at a nearby kiosk, her jaw dropped. Zara the side chick. Blind father mocked. Nurse and Madam Kant. Chief Adedayo sees all. Videos of her public fight at the boutique, Maureen's affair footage, and even their outbursts during the fake will reading had gone viral, over 3 million views. People in the comments laughed, mocked, and dragged them with fire. This is why you don't bite the hand that feeds you. The way that mother and daughter fell off, cinematic. Where's the nurse now, madam? Oh, he left you for his real girlfriend? Jide is the only real one. Salute to that guy. Zara dropped the phone. Maurice sank to the ground by the gate. I have nothing, she whispered. Nothing. Across the street, Chief Morgan, one of their old social friends, passed by in his SUV. He slowed down, saw Maureen in rags, and quickly rolled up his window. She ran to the car, knocking on the glass. Please, just talk to me. He drove off. Humiliation wasn't private anymore. Even Jasper, the nurse-turned-lover, had vanished. Rumors said he had emptied her savings and run to Ghana with another woman. Inside the mansion, Jaide scrolled through the reactions online and handed the phone to his father. "Do you want to see?" Chief Adedeo took it, watched a clip of Maureen fighting a security guard, then Zara crying on a roadside bench. He said nothing, just gave the phone back and whispered, "Now they feel what they made me feel. Invisible, unwanted, alone." Jide nodded. "Should we help them?" Adedeo looked out the window for a long time. "No. Let them taste reality a little longer. Sometimes shame is the only teacher pride will listen to." The world was watching now. And for once, justice had gone viral. The following Sunday, the compound of Chief Adedeo's mansion was packed. Neighbors, extended family members, elders, and old friends gathered after hearing of a family announcement from the chief himself. The large canopy in the compound was decorated in gold and white. A camera crew stood quietly at the back. Reporters whispered to one another. Maureen and Zara were not invited, but they came anyway, faces swollen, eyes hollow, hair roughly tied. They pushed through the crowd, trying to look dignified, but whispers followed them like shadows. Daffy, the one who called her blind husband useless, and the daughter that sold his cars behind his back, they thought he would never see again. But God, day. Inside the main hall, Chief Adedeo walked slowly to the front, holding Jaide's arm, not out of blindness, but out of pride. He turned to the audience, removed his glasses, and looked around with clear eyes. Gasps filled the room. "Good afternoon," he began. "As you can see, I was never blind, but I was surrounded by darkness." Silence fell like a blanket. I wanted to know the truth, so I pretended, and what I discovered shattered me. He nodded. Michael brought forward a remote control. One click, and a large screen behind them lit up. Video 1, Maureen kissing Jasper. Video 2, Zara mocking her father, removing the rug to make him fall. Video 3, Maureen saying, "Once he dies, everything will be mine." Video 4, Jaide helping his father into bed, covering him with a blanket. Video 5, Zara saying, "He's just a blind fool." Video 6, Maureen laughing in a hotel, whispering, "Let him rot." By the time it ended, some guests had their hands over their mouths. Others shook their heads in disgust. Zara tried to stand. "These videos were taken out of context." Maureen shouted, "Adeo, please. You're destroying our family." He turned to face them. "No, you destroyed it. The moment you measured my worth by my wallet. The day you replaced love with luxury and loyalty with lies." Zara dropped to her knees. "Daddy, please. I didn't mean those things." "You meant them," he said coldly, "and I'll never forget." He turned to Jaide. "This boy, who you once called a maid's son, is the only reason I didn't lose my mind. He stood by me, wiped my tears, and held my hand when I had nothing. So today, I make it official." He raised Jaide's hand. "This is my son, my blood, my heir." Cheers erupted. Zara wept loudly. "You can't just throw me away." Maureen lunged forward. "Please, I was angry." Adedeo raised a hand. "Anger doesn't create betrayal. It reveals it." He nodded to the security guards. "Escort them out." As Maureen and Zara were dragged away, villagers recorded, some laughing, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Outside, someone shouted, "No more madam and princess, just disgraced." Inside, Chief Adedeo sat down beside Jide. "The fire has burned everything fake, and now only truth remains." Jide looked at him, proud and emotional. They didn't just win back a home, they reclaimed a legacy. 2 months had passed. The mansion was peaceful again. No shouting, no fake laughter, no perfume trails covering lies. Just fresh air, soft music, and quiet respect. Chief Adedayo sat on the garden bench beneath the guava tree, dressed in clean, traditional white. Jaide, now in a tailored suit, stood beside him, holding a tablet as he scrolled through company figures. "We're up 12% this quarter," Jaide said with a humble smile, "and the Charity Foundation has already registered over 5,000 children in school." Adedayo nodded with pride. That's how legacy should feel, not just numbers, but meaning. Behind them, a black SUV entered the compound. Out stepped a group of children from the village orphanage, here to tour the mansion and receive scholarships. Jaide walked up to them with a warm smile. "Welcome. Today, you don't just visit a house, you visit possibility." One of the boys whispered, "Is this where the blind billionaire lives?" Adedayo chuckled gently. "He used to live here, but now he sees everything." Across town, in a dusty back street near Ajagunle, a woman sat by a roadside stall frying bean cakes. Her wig had lost its shape, her nails were bare, and her skin now told the story of heat and hardship. It was Maureen. A man walked by, stared hard, then shook his head. "Aren't you that Chief Adeo's wife who cheated with the nurse?" he asked aloud. Maureen didn't look up, she just flipped the bean cake and muttered, "Customer, a beg no insult person. Buy or pass." From inside a nearby salon, Zara emerged. Her once glamorous face now carried the marks of stress. Dark circles, sunburn, and shame. She had been hired to sweep hair and wash chairs. 2 teenage girls whispered as they passed, "That's her, the girl that went viral for mocking her blind father and ended up in the gutter?" Zara turned away quickly, tears filling her eyes. Back in Lekki, reporters surrounded Chief Adedayo and Jaide at the launching of the Adedayo Center for Blind Children. One asked, "Sir, what inspired you to create this?" Adedayo smiled, then turned to Jaide. "This young man did. When the world turned its back, he held my hand. He didn't know there was money waiting. He didn't ask for an inheritance. He just stayed." Another reporter asked, "And your wife and daughter, will you ever forgive them?" Adedayo paused, his expression firm. "Forgiveness is free, but restoration is earned. As for them, I don't hate them, but I now understand them. They loved my power, not my person, and I won't make that mistake again." As the ceremony ended, Jaide stood by his father's side, no longer in the shadows, but in the spotlight where he belonged. He didn't win with noise. He won with patience, truth, and loyalty. And while the world watched the rise of the once forgotten son, far away, Maureen and Zara sat in silence, watching the event on a tiny borrowed phone. No laughter, no likes, just a bitter truth. They lost everything, trying to take everything. Dear viewers, what did this story teach you? Loyalty is silent but powerful. And sometimes, the eyes that truly see are not the ones that look, but the ones that feel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories like this.